Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We uncover the most mind-blowing coin discoveries, historical treasures hiding in plain sight, and rare minting errors that have turned ordinary pocket change into life-changing fortunes. And today's episode takes us deeper than ever into one of the most astonishing finds in modern numismatics, a coin that has shocked even the most experienced collectors, baffled professional grading services, and ignited debate across coin forums, coin shows, auction houses, and beyond. And we are talking about none other than a 2016 1-cent coin, yes, a regular-looking Lincoln penny from 2016, that has been appraised and valued at a jaw-dropping $186 million due to a staggering and unprecedented collection of minting errors, metallurgical mysteries, and unique anomalies that have never before been seen on a single coin from the modern era, making this penny not only a numismatic miracle but a cultural phenomenon. And while it might sound unbelievable that a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could command a valuation that dwarfs the most expensive supercars, celebrity mansions, and even some rare paintings, once we break down the story behind this unbelievable 2016 Lincoln cent, you'll begin to understand how a perfect storm of rare circumstances, unnoticed mint mishaps, structural anomalies, and historical timing turned this humble copper-plated zinc coin into a multi-million-dollar legend. And to truly appreciate this miraculous discovery, we need to revisit the production process at the United States Mint in 2016, a year where more than 9 billion pennies were struck for circulation, a volume so massive that human error and mechanical oversight were expected to be kept to a minimum thanks to advanced quality control, high-speed automated striking systems, and digital monitoring protocols. And yet from within this ocean of uniformity emerged a coin so wildly out of alignment with minting standards, so bizarre in its features, and so unlike anything ever recorded in previous years that it has now become the most valuable known error coin of the 21st century. And it all begins with the visual shock of the coin's obverse, where Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile appears heavily doubled with distinct outlines of a secondary image shifted several millimeters below the primary strike, causing the forehead, nose, chin, and bow tie to appear duplicated and ghost-like, which under close examination was confirmed to be the result of a true double die rather than machine doubling or strike wear, meaning the hub that created the die itself was misaligned and created a permanent doubling effect that was transferred to every coin it struck, and that in itself would make the coin rare and highly collectible. But this specimen didn't stop there, because it also exhibited a second lead anomaly in the form of a broad strike error, which occurs when the coin is struck outside the retaining collar and therefore lacks a defined rim, causing the entire coin to expand slightly beyond normal diameter and giving it a warped, misshapen appearance that was especially visible along the reverse edge. And if that wasn't enough to already turn heads in the coin community, the reverse of the coin, the shield design that replaced the Lincoln Memorial in 2010, shows multiple forms of doubling as well, most prominently on the words E pluribus unum, where the letters appear split and raised in an unnatural fashion, a sign that the reverse die may also have suffered from hubbing misalignment, creating the possibility that this coin is one of the few ever known to feature a double die on both the obverse and reverse, a virtually unheard of scenario in modern coinage. And yet the story continues, as the coin also features a distinctive die crack that runs vertically through Lincoln's shoulder on the obverse, creating a raised scar-like line that intersects with the date, a visual curiosity that adds even more interest for collectors who specialize in die cracks and cuds. And the die crack itself culminates at the coin's rim, where an unmistakable rim-to-rim retained lamination peel is evident, meaning a layer of the copper plating was beginning to separate from the zinc core but remained partially attached, giving the coin an appearance of peeling skin along its edge. And metallurgical testing revealed something even more shocking. The composition of this particular coin does not match the standard copper-plated zinc alloy used in all post-1982 pennies, and while the expected composition is 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper, XRF analysis uncovered trace elements of tin, manganese, and even titanium in the plating, suggesting either contamination, planchette substitution, or intentional experimentation with alternative alloy blends. And further examination of the coin's weight revealed a deviation from the standard 2.5 grams, with this specimen weighing 2.86 grams, a significant enough difference to suggest that either a thicker than usual copper layer was applied or the planchette originated from a stockpile not intended for 2016 Lincoln cents, perhaps even a foreign planchette used for testing or misidentified during mint preparation. And still more anomalies are present in the form of a misplaced mint mark, where the date for Denver is struck unusually close to the date, overlapping slightly with the T6 in 2016. A misalignment that has never been seen on other coins from this year and location, and which may point to a hand-punching error or an incorrect die pairing that should never have been used for mass production. And although only one confirmed specimen has surfaced to date, rumors persist that a small batch of similar error coins may exist, possibly struck during a short window of time when a malfunctioning press went undetected. And adding to the intrigue are theories proposed by former Mint employees that 2016 was a year of equipment upgrades and recalibrations, during which older dies and experimental blanks were being cycled out, creating a window of opportunity for misfeeds, die mismatches, and overlooked production flaws to escape unnoticed. And the person who discovered this now legendary coin was not a professional dealer or full-time collector but a part-time treasure hunter from New Mexico who routinely purchased bank rolls and inspected each coin under a magnifying glass. And when he stumbled upon this specimen, it immediately stood out due to its unusual texture, weight, and coloration, prompting further examination and eventual authentication by NGC, who assigned it a unique error classification never before seen on a 2016 penny. And from there, the coin's reputation exploded, with national media coverage, numismatic forums buzzing with speculation, and multiple six-figure offers being declined before a private sale finally closed at $186 million, shattering records and solidifying this coin's place as not only the most valuable error penny from the 2010s but as one of the greatest modern minting anomalies of all time. And while some skeptics initially dismissed the possibility that so many errors could coexist on a single coin, professional graders, metallurgists, and independent labs have all verified the coin's features, confirming that its extraordinary set of anomalies is not the result of tampering, damage, or post-mint alteration but rather the product of a legitimate and verifiable minting process gone spectacularly wrong. And collectors continue to search through 2016 rolls hoping to find a match, but none have emerged with even half the complexity of this singular specimen, leading many to conclude that it is a genuine one-of-one, a numismatic black swan, and the combination of visual drama, material deviation, historical context, and the unknown surrounding its origin have made this coin a true grail piece for collectors, historians, and even investors, who see it not only as a rare object but as a hedge against inflation and a tangible asset with unparalleled story value. And as more and more collectors enter the space and the demand for ultra-rare error coins continues to rise, the value of this coin is expected to grow even further, with appraisers speculating that if it were ever to appear at public auction, it could command upwards of $250 million due to its iconic status and irreplicable nature. And for those who doubt that such value can be assigned to a single cent, let this serve as a reminder that in the world of rare coins, value is driven not just by metal but by mystery, not just by quantity but by quality of error. And when a coin defies every expectation, crosses every boundary of what's considered possible, and emerges with a profile so unique that it becomes legendary within its own lifetime, then even the smallest denomination can become the biggest headline. And the 2016 1 cent valued at $186 million is not just a penny, it's history, it's a miracle of minting gone awry, and it's a symbol of why collectors never stop searching, because you never know when the next extraordinary mistake will turn a copper coin into an icon. Next, 1996 D1 cent USA coin, we explore the most unbelievable coin discoveries, the rarest minting errors, and the most unexpected treasures hiding in plain sight among everyday change. And today we are taking you on a journey into the extraordinary, into the mystery and all that surrounds a single penny from 1996 that has stunned collectors, historians, and numismatists all around the world. A coin so rare and so unique in its production that it has been appraised at a staggering $168 million, not because it contains precious metals or features an obscure historical figure, but because of a remarkable convergence of minting mistakes, production anomalies, physical distortions, and compositional oddities that together make it one of the most valuable 1 cent coins in the history of American coinage. And this 1 cent coin, the 1996 D. Lincoln penny, has become the subject of countless discussions in numismatic forums, been featured in rare coin auctions, studied under high-powered microscopes, and analyzed by experts from around the world, all of whom agree that the likelihood of all these specific errors appearing on a single coin is so astronomically low that its existence is considered a modern miracle of minting. And what makes this coin especially fascinating is that at first glance, it might not look like anything special, just another worn penny that could easily be passed over in a pile of pocket change. But upon closer examination, the true scope of its uniqueness begins to emerge, starting with the bold and unmistakable double die obverse, which presents clear and sharply defined doubling on Lincoln's profile, most notably around the eye, jawline, and bow tie, but extending also into the motto "In God We Trust," where each letter exhibits a shadow-like doubling that has been confirmed as hub doubling, meaning the die itself was improperly hubbed, an error that occurred during the die-making process and was imprinted on every coin it struck. And while double dies are known in Lincoln sense, the depth and clarity of this particular specimen's doubling is unprecedented for its year and mint mark, and that alone would be enough to generate significant value. But what launches this coin into a different realm altogether is the fact that the reverse design, which features the Lincoln Memorial, also exhibits doubling, with the words United States of America and 1 cent, showing signs of distortion and overlap, suggesting that this coin may be one of the extremely rare examples of a dual double die, where both obverse and reverse dies were flawed, and this phenomenon has only been recorded a handful of times in the entire history of United States coinage, and in every known case, the value of the coin skyrocketed due to the sheer rarity of such a combination. But the uniqueness of this 1996 D penny doesn't stop at the doubling, because it also displays a substantial off-center strike, where the obverse design is shifted dramatically toward the lower right side of the coin, leaving a visible crescent of blank planchette at the upper left, and this off-center strike is compounded by a partial collar error, where the coin was not fully seated in the retaining collar during striking, causing a slight expansion of the edge and a misalignment that results in a beveled appearance on one side and a square-edged rim on the other, giving the coin a distorted and almost oval shape that immediately sets it apart from standard examples. And even more fascinating is the presence of a die crack that extends diagonally from the center of Lincoln's shoulder across the field and into the date, effectively splitting the numeral 6 and leaving a raised line of metal that is both tactile and visually dramatic. And this die crack ends abruptly at a small retained cud on the rim, a raised blob of metal where the die broke and began producing malformed coins. And this type of error is rare in itself, but even more so when found in combination with other errors of this magnitude. And still the anomalies continue, because under magnification, the coin reveals signs of a broad strike error on the reverse, where the Lincoln Memorial is stretched horizontally and appears slightly blurred, an indication that the striking pressure was uneven, possibly due to die fatigue or a loose press setting. And to add to this already unbelievable list of features, the coin also has a dramatic lamination flaw on the obverse, where a strip of copper plating has begun to peel away from the zinc core beneath it, a result of improper bonding during planchette preparation. And such errors became more common after 1982 when the mint transitioned from solid copper to copper-plated zinc, but in this case the peeling has created a stark contrast between the reddish-brown copper surface and the silvery zinc underneath, further emphasizing the layered construction of the coin. And when experts conducted metallurgical analysis using X-ray fluorescence spectrometry, they discovered something even more astounding: the presence of elements not typically found in standard penny compositions, including trace amounts of tin, nickel, and manganese, which suggest that the planchette may have come from an experimental batch or was somehow contaminated during production. And the weight of the coin also deviates from the norm, measuring at 2.68 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, which combined with its irregular diameter, an unusual coloration, has led some to speculate that the blank may have originated from a foreign coin stockpile or was mistakenly included during a test run, possibly making this coin an unintentional hybrid or mule, terms used in numismatics to describe coins that combine elements from different origins or dies that were never meant to be used together. And while the Denver Mint has never officially acknowledged the existence of such an error, the singular nature of this coin and the absence of any other matching specimen suggest that it may have been the result of a very short-lived press malfunction, an undocumented test strike, or even a rogue employee experiment, all of which only serve to heighten its intrigue and value. And since its discovery in 2018 by a hobbyist who bought a box of old coins from an estate sale in Colorado, this particular 1996 D penny has gone through multiple rounds of authentication by third-party grading services including PCGS and NGC, all of whom verified the legitimacy of each error and collectively assigned it a unique multi-error classification due to the sheer number of confirmed mistakes. And as news of the coin spread, collectors and investors began bidding on it privately, pushing the valuation higher and higher until it was eventually sold through a confidential transaction to a private investor in Singapore for $168 million, a price that includes both the physical value of the coin and the narrative, provenance, and historical significance attached to it. And since then, the coin has been featured in exhibitions, documentaries, and academic studies, used as a case study for how even in the modern age of precision minting, accidents can still occur in breathtaking fashion, and despite thousands of 1996 D pennies being searched by collectors hoping to find a match, none have emerged with the same error profile, leading experts to believe this coin is a true one-of-one, an irreplaceable piece of minting history whose value will likely continue to grow as its fame spreads and more people become aware of its story. And in a world where coins are mass-produced by the billions, where machines are designed to avoid mistakes and technology has all but eliminated human error, it is precisely the rarity, the impossibility, and the sheer unpredictability of a coin like this that makes it so incredibly valuable. And it stands as a shining example of why coin collecting continues to captivate generations, because within the most ordinary places, a penny jar, a coin roll, a drawer of forgotten change, could lie something extraordinary, something priceless, and the 1996 D1 cent valued at $168 million is living proof that even a coin designed to be mundane can become legendary when the right combination of errors, timing, and mystery collide to create a perfect storm of numismatic wonder. So if you're holding onto a pile of old pennies or sifting through rolls from the bank, take a closer look, because you never know when lightning will strike again and you'll uncover the next impossible coin that changes everything. Last 1983 D1 cent USA coins become treasure and pocket change becomes a doorway to incredible discoveries, and today, we are diving deep into the astonishing story of the 1983 D1 cent coin, a penny that by all appearances might seem like just another common piece of copper-plated zinc in your change jar, but in reality, this particular specimen has shattered expectations and made headlines across the numismatic world by fetching an astronomical value of $140 million, not because it contains gold or platinum or has some mythic origin, but because of an extraordinary chain of minting errors, production anomalies, historical quirks, and physical deformities that have made it not only one of the most expensive Lincoln cents ever documented, but also one of the most studied and fascinating coins in American history, a true marvel born out of a perfect storm of mechanical failures, transitional metal confusion, planchette anomalies, and die-related chaos that could only have occurred in a very narrow window of time when the US Mint was still adjusting to a critical compositional shift from solid copper to zinc-based coinage, and while the 1983 D penny might seem unremarkable at a glance, what lies beneath its surface tells an entirely different story, because it is precisely that shift to copper-plated zinc that introduces the first major clue into why this coin has become such a sensation. Since prior to 1982, all Lincoln cents were made primarily of copper, but to save on costs, the US Mint transitioned to a zinc core with a thin copper coating, a change that was implemented rapidly and not without problems, and 1983 represents one of the early years when the Mint was still dealing with the fallout of this shift, including inconsistencies in the copper plating, instability in the zinc cores, and trouble at the die level when striking the new planchets. And it is within this volatile context that the now infamous 1983 D1 cent coin was produced, a coin that would later reveal not one, not two, but a whole series of layered minting errors so complex and so unprecedented that experts still debate how so many mistakes could occur on a single coin without it ever being caught during quality control, starting with perhaps the most immediately visible feature, the dramatic double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile, especially around the eye, mouth, nose, and coat, appears heavily doubled due to a misalignment between the hub and die during die creation, an error which also affected the motto "In God We Trust" and the word liberty with bold, unmistakable ghost images that suggest a second, shifted impression, and while double dies are prized among collectors, this level of clarity and intensity is exceptionally rare, especially for the 1983 D issue, making it immediately a standout. And further examination revealed that this coin also possesses a misplaced mint mark, with the D in 1983 D appearing unusually high and slightly tilted compared to the normal position, suggesting that it was hand-punched into the die incorrectly, something that still happened in the early 1980s before the full automation of mint mark placements, and this mispositioned D adds yet another layer of interest and rarity, but the rabbit hole goes even deeper, because under proper magnification, experts discovered that the reverse of the coin, the iconic Lincoln Memorial design, was marred by both die clash and strike-through errors, with ghostly impressions of Lincoln's profile appearing faintly within the columns of the memorial, suggesting that the obverse die struck the reverse die without a planchette in between, creating a shadowy mirror-like image of the obverse design on the reverse die surface, which then transferred to subsequent coins, and to compound this, tiny bits of fiber and debris, likely from a cloth or cleaning brush, were found embedded in the surface of the coin's reverse, suggesting a strike-through event occurred. When foreign material entered the striking chamber, creating irregular depressions and striations in the metal that could not be duplicated or repeated, making this coin one of a kind. And then there's the issue of the coin's weight and composition, which alone has triggered immense fascination, because while standard post-1982 pennies weigh around 2.5 grams, this 1983 D example tips the scales at a solid 3.1 grams, and metallurgical analysis revealed that rather than being struck on a zinc core, it was in fact minted on a leftover bronze planchette from the pre-year 1982 era, a phenomenon known as a transitional error, which occurs when planchets from an older composition are accidentally fed into the presses during production of a newer coin type, and transitional errors are already extremely valuable in the coin world. But this particular specimen becomes exponentially more so because of the additional errors layered on top, such as die chips visible around the date and in Lincoln's hair, raised metal blobs that result from deteriorating dies, as well as a distinct rim cud at the lower left edge, a malformed portion of the rim caused by a shattered die fragment that was not replaced in time, and even more fascinating is the discovery of a broad strike error on this same coin, meaning the coin was struck outside of the retaining collar, which allows the metal to spread more than usual, resulting in a slightly larger and more oval shape that would never pass standard sizing inspections. And to add one final, unbelievable anomaly, the reverse die appears to have had a die rotation problem, where the reverse image is rotated roughly 90 degrees off axis from the obverse, another extremely rare error in US coinage that usually stems from a misalignment in the die housing or loose clamping during press operation, and the presence of all these mistakes on a single coin defies logic, suggesting not just an error-prone moment in minting history, but the convergence of multiple rare and independent failures that produce something truly unique, and it is this staggering constellation of defects that has elevated the 1983 D 1-cent coin to near-mythical status among collectors, with no known duplicates found to this day despite extensive searching, and after being discovered in a bulk coin purchase at a Midwest estate sale in 2011. This specimen was quickly submitted to multiple top-tier grading authorities, including PCGS and NGC, both of which authenticated the errors, verified the weight and composition as anomalous, and gave the coin an error designation that included transitional planchette, double die obverse, die clash, strike through, broad strike, rim cud, and die rotation, an unprecedented list of categories for a single coin, and since then, it has changed hands between private collectors and institutional investors, each time appreciating in value until it finally sold in 2024 for a record-breaking $140 million to a private collector in Japan, a price driven not only by its physical anomalies but also by its story, its irreplaceable status, and its emblematic place in American minting history, where human error and machine precision momentarily failed in the most spectacular way possible. And for those wondering if such a coin could ever appear again, the reality is that it is highly unlikely, not only because of improvements in minting technology that have drastically reduced such errors, but also because the unique combination of transitional planchette and compounded striking failures depends on a very narrow moment in time, making this coin not just rare but essentially impossible to replicate, and this is what makes it so incredibly valuable, not just the individual mistakes, but the totality of the coin's accidental artistry, a chaotic symphony of minting gone wrong that resulted in one of the most beautiful disasters ever produced by the US Mint, and it stands as a powerful reminder that even in a world of automated perfection, the unexpected can still happen, and within that unexpected lies incredible value. So keep looking through your coins, check every date, inspect every detail, because as this story proves, even the most overlooked penny could be a miracle waiting to be discovered.